Lesson 15 is all about solving systems of inequalities graphically. So the learning targets will be to be able to graph a system of inequalities and determine the solution set to that system of inequalities. Now, a system is just the fact that there are two graphs on one coordinate plane. So we've already learned how to graph one inequality. Now we're going to graph two, and that just means it's called a system. So systems of equations are just exactly what I said there. So there's your vocabulary for the day. Don't forget about our two little faces here. When it is just greater than and less than, we use a dotted line. And when it's greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, we use a solid line. So let's take a look at how this would get done. So if we are given two inequalities, things to remember: dotted versus solid lines for each of them, and shading above versus shading below. We also might want to make sure we always identify the slope and the y-intercept, the slope and the y-intercept. And if you want to look at the completed notes, go ahead and do that. If you're taking these, just let me know if you need more time. But the first one starts at -2. Now that is just greater than, so I'm going to use an open circle because that's going to mean a dotted line. And then from there, it's positive slope. So still rising 1, 2, 3, running 1, 2, 3, 4. Still catching people graphing the slope wrong. So please make sure when you're graphing, you know whether it's positive or negative. Take a second to look at it and see that this needs to go up as it goes to the right. One very important thing you have to do is you have to remember to label it when we have a system of inequalities, because we're going to put another line there, and if we don't do that, we're not going to know which is which. Now, once we have the line, all right, once we have the dotted line in, what side do we shade? It is greater than, so do exactly what that sounds like and shade it above. So there you have it. We have shaded the first one. Next one has a negative slope but a positive y-intercept, and this line is going to be solid because it's less than or equal to. So up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, solid point. Negative slope means down 2, right 1, down 2, and right 1. And look how this slope is different. It's going down as it goes to the right. Now I could have also gone up and left, but still that is negative slope. This one I connect classically with a solid line. I put arrows on each end and I label it y less than -2x plus 4. Now we have to remember again, shade above or shade below. Those little hints are not always going to be there for you, so you got to start to remember to do this on your own. So if it's less than, you're going to shade it below. So that would be on this side. Okay, so that is a system of inequalities graphed, but let's talk about the solutions, okay? So the solutions for this would be where the shading meets the crisscrossy pattern. You see this the green and the blue right here? This side would be the solution set, and it asks us to identify one point. So I'm going to go with this point right here, all right? So that is simply 1 to the left and up 1. So one point that lies in the solution is -1, 1. So x and y value there. There are more, all right? Anything from this part of the graph is to be considered part of the solution. This blue section over here is only a solution for the blue line. This green section here is only a solution for that green. And this section over here that has no shading has no solutions for either inequality. So it kind of breaks it up into 4 different sections. If you have any questions about that, please type them in the chat or ask me with your microphone on. But it doesn't look like I have any questions, so we will go on. We're not doing too many of these, so if you're having trouble with the equations when they're not solved for y, tune in right now, stand up, do a jumping jack, whatever you got to do to wake yourself up. I'm only going to talk for another maybe 7 or 8 minutes, okay? It's not that long. So when we have an inequality that has not been solved for y, we have to do that. We have to put it into slope-intercept form. First one, we would want to subtract x on both sides. So again, think of that as being a 1. So I subtract x, and that gives me y, because this is now gone. We do not change the sign if we simply subtract, so keep it greater than or equal to negative x plus 10. Now I've got my slope, which I could put over 1, and now I've got my y-intercept. Other side of this, it's negative 2y less than negative 6x plus 10. So this time I'm going to have to undo the multiplication with division. So instead of, adding or subtracting, I would divide by negative 2. That would give me y. Simplify when we can. Does 2 go into 6 nicely? Yes, it does. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so simply 3x. Does negative 2 go into 10 nicely? Yes, it does, so it's negative 5. But the sign, we've got to remember what to do with that sign. So dividing by the negative switches the sign from less than to greater than. And again, if you want to put this over 1, here's your slope, here's your y-intercept. But you had to get y by itself in order to do that. So let's go ahead and put this on the graph. I made a mistake. This doesn't even fit, so let's change this to 8. I apologize for doing that last minute, but I don't even have 10 on this y-axis. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just sorry for the sake of argument, let's just start at 8. And now let's go down 1 and right 1. So this is going to be negative slope. I'm putting this in the wrong color. Sorry. Blue, blue. And so this is going down as it goes to the right. So remember that is negative slope. Connect your points with a solid line because it's equal to, whenever that little line's underneath the sign, it's solid. Go back and label it with the equation x plus y greater than or equal to, we said 8. We're changing that from 10 to 8. And we need to shade greater than. Greater than would be above. So there we have it. So there's one inequality. And again, we've done that during lesson 13. But now we put another inequality on here and we call it a system. This one starts at negative 5. So down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is just greater than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to use an open circle. I'm now going to have positive slope, which goes up 1, 2, 3, and 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. Once we have the points down, we can see the line, but this one's a dotted line. And the reason is it's just the greater than symbol. No little line underneath. Now, I'm going to pause. So greater than means I'm going to shade the top side of this line over here. And it's going to take you a minute to think about where the solutions lie. All right, where are the answers to the system to where both of them are? Well, it's not in the section that has nothing. So it's definitely not over here. It's not in the black only. It's not in the blue only. The solutions are where the black and the blue meet. So just this smaller top section up here. And we classically label this with a big giant S to show you the solutions. Okay? Hope this is going well for you out there. Please keep the questions coming if you have any. All right, this next one takes us back to horizontal and vertical lines. All right, so I'm going to do a quick poll before we get started. So let's go ahead and graph the first one, the horizontal line. When y is 3, so go on the y-axis up to 3, solid point because it's less than or equal to, filled in point means a solid line. And a horizontal line simply goes right across the page. So there you go. Now, what side of that line do you shade if it's less? Less sounds like below, so let's shade it below the line. And there you have it. Always a good idea to put the name on the line. Next up, your vertical line. But again, this one starts with an X, so don't go on the y-axis, go on the x-axis to 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. But this one's just greater than, so open circles that are vertical, or just come through with your dotted line. There you go. So dotted line and x greater than negative 4. So what side of that line should you shade if it's greater? Think about the number line. How does it work? number line at -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go to the right on a number line, I get bigger. So on the right is where you would shade the greater than side. Now, where is the solution to this system of inequality? This time it takes up most of the graph. Look at the checkered pattern. Looks like plaid out there, right? So where is it red and black? Right here. This would be all the solutions to the inequality. Let's just pick one, all right? Out of all these numbers, pick one. And one famous one to go with is this one right here, the origin, 0, 0. Now remember, that's not the only solution. That's simply just one of the solutions to that system because they don't meet just once. Anywhere in that crisscrossy pattern would be the solutions. All right, no questions, so I continue one last example, and then the rest of this time is yours to work and get this done and not have anything to do outside of class. So what happens if they do all the graphing for us and they ask us to determine the system of inequalities? So basically what we want to do is come up with two lines. So y and y to get things going. So I got to look at the lines, I got to come up with the slope, the y-intercept, and the correct inequality. So here we go. Let's go with this one as the green. So this one right here, this solid green line. So let's come up with the y-intercept first. Usually that's the easiest to start with. So there it is. This is 0 right here, and that is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's up 5. Okay? Now I need one more point on the line to get the rise and the run. So let's go maybe right here. I know a lot of you are frustrated with delta math, but if you put 2 points on the line, even this one right here, and then draw that little triangle in, it helps you see that the rise is 3 and the run is 1. Now, is right rise 3, run 1 is just 3. And always the x to follow it. So there's the slope, there's the y-intercept. Now we need the correct inequality. So since this is a solid line, we know it's got a little line underneath it, right? So we'll put the little line down. Now this is shaded on the lower side, right? The side that is below it. So below is less than. So this inequality would be y less than or equal to 3x plus 5. Let's go to the next one. Let's consider this the red line, so my red dashes. And let's do the same thing we did. Let's see if we can come up with a y-intercept first. If this is 0, it's down 2, so -2. And then I need the slope. So let's come up with 2 points. There's a point, there's a point. Could have also gone here. So what's the rise and the run? It's going up and over. It's going up 2, rising 2, and running 3. So rise 2, run 3, always x. What type of slope does this line have? Well, it's going down as it goes to the right. So this one would be, in fact, a negative slope. We had a dotted line, so guess what? No little line under the sign, so this is simply just going to be, and so therefore would be less than. Now you're probably like, how is it less than? The other one was shaded differently. Well, the other one had a line with positive slope, so that is below a positively sloped line, and this one was below a negatively sloped line. And I did that so you could see that there is a little bit of a difference. Now, don't forget that the actual solution to this is right here in the double crisscross area. This would be the solution to only the green section, only green. This is the solution to the red section. And then here, there are no solutions to either inequality. So this blue section is the answers to our system of inequalities.